Hey guys, it's Anna. Today I'm in Zoom and I wanted to give you a walkthrough of your host controls in Zoom. So right now I'm in a meeting that has two participants, myself and one other. Just to show you, I'm in the speaker view here. The speaker view shows the person who is speaking or the last person who was speaking large at the bottom. And then there are thumbnails, smaller thumbnails at the top of all the other participants. I can also change it to gallery view by clicking right here. And the gallery view is going to show everybody listed in one screen. I can also go in here and decide whether to show or hide non-video participants. So if you notice when I was in the gallery view before, it only showed one person. This one was hidden because it was hide non-video participants. That can be helpful if you've got a very large group and you don't want to clutter up all your thumbnails with people who don't even have their camera turned on, like maybe in a parent meeting or something like that. So anyway, those are two views that you can use. And then let's go through your controls down here at the bottom. So of course you can mute, unmute, start and stop your own video. And then you've got these buttons down here. Security kind of groups features and settings related to security into one window. I'm not going to read you all those. You can read them yourself. These settings are all found elsewhere in other places in the app, but it's got them grouped here together for easy access to security features. Just to be clear, lock meeting means that you've got everyone that you want in that meeting and you don't want anybody else coming in. So once you lock the meeting, people can still leave your meeting, but nobody can join your meeting after you lock. All right, I want to show you the participants panel next. The participants panel is going to show anybody in the waiting room first at the top. Notice I can message people in the waiting room. When I click that, it pops open my chat over here. And the reason it does that is that the way you message someone in the waiting room is using the chat. And notice this says to everyone in the waiting room. So whatever I type here is going to go to people in the waiting room. I can change this if I want to be able to chat people in my meeting or back to people in the waiting room, okay? From the waiting room, I can admit someone or remove them. So I'm going to admit this person. That's going to add the person to my meeting. All right, from here, I cannot unmute or turn on camera for users. That's a privacy issue to make it so that you can hear or see them when they didn't choose it. But I can ask them to unmute by clicking this button if I want them to speak. Also, you have the more option for each participant. You can ask them to start their video. You can make a host or co-host. So if you've got a co-teacher in class with you, a paraprofessional, or maybe you're doing a booster club meeting and you want your booster club president to host the meeting, you can make somebody else a host or co-host. You can rename participants if they did not type their name incorrectly when they came into the room, and you can put someone back in the waiting room or remove them. Remember, depending on how your settings are in the Zoom web portal, removed people may not be able to come back in if you have that turned off. So another option would be to chill them out in the waiting room until you're ready for them again, to give them another chance. So that's an option there. I want you to notice at the bottom of the participants window, these little nonverbal signalers here, these icons. These are ways that your participants can give you just some visual feedback. So if you want to ask a quick question like, is everybody ready to move on? They can signal you yes or no non-verbally without having to have everybody speak up. And you can go, oh, okay, I see Anna's not ready to move on, but Maggie is. When you're done and you're maybe ready to ask another question, you can click clear all, and then they have a chance to give another response. So those are just some ways that they can signal you of what's going on, or they could type in the chat. notice in the chat options, and I opened chat by clicking message in the waiting room, but you can also toggle chat on and off down here in your meeting controls. I can turn participants off and only see the chat if I want, or I can have both. So in the chat, notice that you as the host can choose who to chat with. You can chat with everyone in the meeting or privately chat with any specific person. And if you click the little three dots, the more options over here, you can choose who they're allowed to chat with. No one, if you just want to turn the chat off completely. Host only, I would probably choose as a teacher so that they can ask me questions, or everyone publicly. So those are your options in the chat. As we're looking over here at the participants panel, notice that you have an invite button, and you can copy your invite link at any time. You can also get that same information here by clicking on the little I in the corner. That gives you your meeting information, including your link, if you need to share it again. You can also click on mute all to instantly mute everybody in the meeting. And notice when I do that, it gives me a pop-up window with an additional option. I'm muting everybody. Do I want them to be able to unmute themselves? Yes or no. So you can uncheck that. Click yes. And now I've muted everyone and they cannot unmute themselves. When I am done and I'm ready for them to speak again, I can hit mute all again. Allow participants to unmute themselves, okay? And then you've got, again, in the little more box, some other options that you can choose, similar to what you can choose in settings in the web portal. And you can read over those and see what they do. All right. In addition, since we were talking about mute all, I want you to notice when I put my mouse over it, it gives me also a keyboard shortcut, Alt-M. So you can do Alt-M on your keyboard to quickly unmute or quickly mute everyone, so that you can quickly turn off sound if something's going on and you're not sure who it is. All right, the next thing I want to show you, I'm going to close both of those windows, and I want to talk a little bit about screen share. We have lots of different options on screen share, and I want to make sure you understand all the features. So first, this little up arrow next to screen share gives you some different options, and I can do advanced sharing options to see even a little bit more. These are similar to the things that are in the settings in the web portal, so you can look at your web portal, your settings walkthrough video for more information on those. I'm going to click on share screen, and I want to explain to you what you're seeing here. So first, notice I have screen 1 and screen 2. I've got whiteboard, iPhone, iPad, and then I have all these individual screens down here. So I am using a laptop with 2 monitors. So I've got a screen 1 and a screen 2 literally on my desk. And right now, while I'm in this window, I see a 1 in the corner of one of my screens, as you can see right here. My other screen shows a 2. If you were using a projector as one of your screens, that would come up here, whatever's showing on the projector, etc. So however many displays you're using will come up as a screen. If I share this, screen 1, then once I share it, participants in the meeting are going to see everything that happens on this monitor. So if I minimize the program that I'm in and show my desktop, they'll see my desktop. If I switch from Word to Chrome to Teams and back to Zoom, they will see all of that, anything that happens on this monitor. If I happen to have Synergy up in the window behind the window I'm sharing, and I minimize, they're going to see that Synergy window. So that could be a privacy issue, something to be aware of and be careful of. Alternatively, instead of sharing a whole screen, you can share an individual program down here. So for instance, I have 2 different windows open here of Chrome, and I can share just one of those and they'll see everything that's happening in that Chrome window, including if I have multiple tabs in the Chrome window, I can switch between them. So let's take a look at a couple other things. First, down at the bottom here, you've got 2 check boxes. Share computer sound. If you're going to be playing anything from your computer you want them to hear. And optimize screen sharing for video clip. You definitely want to check both of these if you're showing a video. This will keep your video from being super laggy streaming video over the internet. So check both of those if you're showing a video. I can click on whiteboard and share, and it's going to give me a blank whiteboard, just like it sounds like, that I can draw on or type on. I'm not going to go through all these tools with you because you can play with this and see what each thing does. I can use select to move things back around and rearrange. All right. I can clear all drawings, clear my drawings, clear viewers' drawings. I can save what we've done on the whiteboard if it'll save it as an image if it's something that we need to save. This red X does not clear the whiteboard, it clears these controls out of the way. Up here, my screen sharing controls would let me bring those whiteboards back right here, okay? If I pause the share, it will keep this whiteboard open, but my Zoom participants will stop seeing it. I can also go here to more, and this is where I can decide whether or not participants are allowed to annotate with me. And I can show the names of annotators. So if somebody else annotates on my board, let me do that on my other device here, it will show who did that annotation. So notice when the little circle popped up, that it popped up and showed me who made that. And if I get my select tool and put my mouse over that shape, it's going to show which participant made that shape. Both of mine are in as Anna Colley, so it looks the same, but it'll show you the name of the person. That could be helpful if you want to use annotation, but you've got kids annotating inappropriately, but you can see who did it. Do note that in some on some devices, students may not be able to annotate. So right now my two other participants are my iPhone, where I was able to do this annotation. And I've got a web browser open with the web browser Zoom in it, and that one is not able to annotate. There are no annotation tools on that one. So just be aware, some people may be limited in that way. All right. I'm going to stop the share on the whiteboard, and I want to show you a couple other things about screen sharing. You do have an option here for iPhone and iPad. Side note, I've not been able to get that to work, so if you want to play with it and you can get it to work, let me know what you did. I'd love to hear about that. You've got advanced options. You can do portion of the screen you probably won't need. Possibly if you want to share music or a sound clip and you don't need to show any windows or video, you could choose that. Content from a second camera is what you would use if you've got a document camera connected as well as your webcam on your laptop. So you're probably using your webcam on your laptop to point at yourself. You could also use a document camera in addition and have that as another shared window. All right, so I'm going to go back over here and share a window. Of course, I've been signed out since I've been on my video with you. All right, now that I've got signed back in, I want to show you a couple things about the screen controls when you're screen sharing. So my controls are up here. If you're, for instance, using a Chrome browser and you need to switch between tabs, you may find these controls are actually in your way. So something to know is that you can click and drag these controls to another area of your screen if you need to. You also, if you needed, you want to ask the participants if they're ready to move on, you can pop out participant controls while you're screen sharing. If you click this button here, it'll do it in another window. You can also show the chat. It's hiding underneath more. Again, it'll come in another window. So you could have those open. And just so you know, when I'm screen sharing, my participants are not seeing that I've popped these two windows open. They're seeing my screen here. And then depending on what kind of device they're using, they may also be seeing my face. So I wanted you to see that. You can do a new share. Let's say you shared just your Chrome window and then you realize you also want to show something that's in another program, like in Word. You could do new share and show from a different window. You can pause the share. When I click that, it's going to kind of freeze what people see on their screen. So if I click around to something else, the participants aren't going to see what I'm doing. And then when I resume, it comes back to them being able to see. I can annotate on top of my screen share if I needed to point something out to students. I can draw on top of it with the annotation tools. That's right there. And again, under more, I have choices here about whether I want the participants to be able to annotate or not, and whether I want to show the names of who's annotating. And of course, you'll stop sharing when you're done sharing. All right, I think that's everything I wanted to show you. If you have any questions about your host controls, please let me know. I will do a separate video on polls and breakout rooms. I did not talk about recording. It's pretty straightforward. You hit that and it records. My understanding is that students or participants cannot record without your permission. If they click that button, it's going to say, so-and-so is asking to record, do you want to allow? And I would not. And I did not talk about the reactions button because I don't think it's that great. The reactions button only shows up on top of your little thumbnail of your video. So if you've got a bunch of participants and you can't see them all, you won't even know if someone's used one of those reactions. I really like the nonverbal feedback in the participants panel a lot more because I think it's easier to see at a glance a lot of those. Oh, I did not talk about under start video, there's a little pop-up. This is where you would do virtual background if you're doing a virtual background, and you can also do some video settings here for how you look and what you can see in a meeting. I'm not going to go through all those, but that's an option if you want to do that. And this is also another place where you can switch which camera is showing. So anyways, I think that's pretty much everything except for breakout rooms and polls, which I'm going to show you separately. Let me know if you have any questions. Of course, you can always put in a ticket if you think I can help you by email or something like that, and make an appointment if you want to sit down and go over things together. I'll be happy to do that with you. Thanks, guys.